Everyone, my name is Arpan Banerjee. I am a research scholar at the Department of East Asian Studies, University of Delhi, and academic counselor here at IGNU. And I welcome you all to today's learning session. I've been teaching you the paper that is Right to Information, and the code of this paper is BPAE 141. So let us begin today's class. So far in this paper, we have discussed as part of the first block of this paper, which was regarding an introduction to this concept of right to information. As part of that, we had discussed the evolution of this concept of right to information. Also, we had discussed the achievements of the right to information of the RTI movement and also the limitations of that movement. All these things we have so far discussed. As part of the second block, which was the RTI Act 2005, we had discussed an overview of this RTI Act of 2005, followed by the RTI rules and the Central Information Commission and the State Information Commission. So all these things we have discussed as part of the second block. In the third block, which was regarding the implementation of the RTI Act of 2005 in India, and what were the issues and challenges that were faced in India in implementing this very important act, that is the RTI Act 2005. So as part of that, we had discussed the issues and challenges regarding the administrative efficiency, transparency, and accountability that was to be ensured through the RTI Act of 2005, and what were the issues and challenges that were encountered in ensuring administrative efficiency, transparency, and accountability through the RTI Act of 2005. Also, in the next unit, we had discussed the role of the Central Information Commission as well as the State Information Commission and the public authorities, what was their role in implementing the RTI Act of 2005, and what were the expectations from them, and what were the constraints that they faced in performing their duties. And moving on, we had discussed the constraints that were encountered, the hindrances that were encountered in implementing this RTI Act of 2005 at the very district level. So, what were the constraints that were encountered in implementing the RTI Act of 2005 at the district level, that we had discussed, followed by the role of the media and the role of the civil society organizations. And in the final block, which was regarding towards good governance through RTI, initiatives and impact, we had discussed the significance of the right to information or the RTI for governance, followed by the judgments of the Supreme Court and the High Court, which we had discussed in the last class. The judgments of the Supreme Court and the High Courts, which have proven to be instruments for facilitating the RTI enforcement, that we have discussed, followed by the good practices relating to RTI and their successes, and also the efforts to realize transparency and accountability. So these were the things that we have discussed so far in today's class, which is our final class regarding RTI. In today's class, we will be discussing social audit, a very important aspect of RTI. That we'll be discussing, and also we'll be discussing right to information, bridging the gap between rights and their enforceability. So these are the final two units. The 14th unit, which is regarding social audit, and the 15th unit, which is regarding bridging the gap between rights and their enforceability. So let us begin today's class by discussing unit 14, which is relating to social audit. So we all know that social audit in itself, it is a very powerful tool, and it is a tool which is associated with accountability, transparency, and it promotes this right to information. And what it does basically is that it enhances the transparency and accountability in the government schemes and programs. So, a social audit, it can be considered as an empowering process. So, it is an empowering process, and in this empowering process, the user community, that community validates the usefulness and quality of the scheme or program through the monitoring process. So this social audit, it is beyond a financial audit that checks bills, vouchers, and books of accounts. Now, what the social audit is that it is a continuous process, and it keeps on going, and it's a continuous process which includes verification of works at the various stages of implementation of the programs and schemes. And this verification of work, it involves active involvement of the primary stakeholders. So that is why we can see how the social audit is a very empowering process, and in this process the user community itself validates the usefulness and quality of the schemes through their own monitoring process. So now let us discuss social audit and right to information. So in the process of social audit, the team members, they need access to various government documents in order to monitor the implementation of a scheme or a program, and also the provisions for the beneficiaries as well. So these documents that they need, they include bills and vouchers of reported expenditure, for justification and verification of the expenditure of the invoices and receipts and for purchase, and also copy of supporting laws, norms, and standards. All these things they need. And as the social audit is fact finding, which is based on evidences and documents, therefore, in case of non availability of documents due to malified intentions of the bureaucracy, necessary documents can be obtained through RTI. So, after obtaining the required documents, which basically is evidence for clear understanding of what is to be expected from the government. So, these audit team members, the social audit team members, and the beneficiary or the community, they can verify the official obligations and commitments against their own experiences of a particular scheme or program. So, once they obtain the required documents, which basically is evidence for clear understanding of what is to be expected from the government, after that, this audit team, which is conducting the social audit, the members of these teams, as well as the beneficiaries or the community, they can verify the official obligations and commitments against their own experiences of a particular scheme or program. So, keeping the above in view, it can be stated that the RTI is a tool against corrupt practices, and it plays an important role in conducting the social audit. So, the process of social audit, it took root with the launch of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act in 2005. So when it was launched, it was called the National Rural Guarantee Employment Guarantee Act, and it was later on renamed as the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. And this act, it mandated the regular conduct of social audits of works which were sanctioned under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act in the Gram Sabha at least once every 6 months. And this social audit, it adds to the effectiveness in the program implementation, and also it improves the efficiency of political leaders and administrators at the grassroots level. So, as we know that the states in India, most of the states in India, they have taken up social audit of various programs and schemes. Now, what are those schemes and programs for which social audit has been taken up? They are the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, the Midday Meal Scheme, the Integrated Child Development Scheme, and the public distribution system. However, a few research studies have been conducted on the nature, form, and methods of conducting the social audits, and also regarding the institutional architecture that is needed for undertaking social audits, and also the challenges that are being faced by the stakeholders in all these above stated programs. So, let us now discuss the meaning, objectives, role, and significance of social audit. So the term social audit has been interpreted in several ways. So in common parlance, if we say audit refers to the inspection of finances of the institution by an authorized body or department. So that is what audit means, an inspection of finances of an institution by an authorized body or department. And here it is extremely important to mention that financial audit, it differs from social audit. So the social audits, they are expected to examine the social accountability of public institutions from the perspective of welfare of the target or the user community. So in social science, social audit is recognized as a very powerful tool to enforce transparency and accountability. However, the social scientists, they define social audit as a systematic and comprehensive evaluation of an organization's social performance, which is elucidated as an organizational effort in augmenting the welfare of citizens. It is a continuous process. So, social audit, it not only is a systematic and comprehensive evaluation of an organization's social performance, it is also a continuous process that includes verification of works in implementation of the government schemes or programs. And it can be stated as an activity to audit a scheme, program, or a program jointly by the government, civil society organizations, and citizens, especially those who are the beneficiaries. So, the need for social audit, it arises due to various reasons, especially to address corruption and to strengthen accountability of the concerned authority. So, not only the government but civil society organizations and citizens are also involved in this process of social audit, especially the beneficiaries. And as we know, the government, it spends huge sums of money and resources on public welfare through various centrally and state sponsored schemes and programs. So, to address corruption and strengthen accountability, social audit is extremely important. And it involves not only the government but civil society organizations and citizens as well. Common citizens are also involved. So, in this regard, every public institution is accountable for the money that is utilized to achieve the intended objectives in the public interest. Now, the government is making efforts to meet the growing demand for accountability and social responsibility, and the citizens, they are becoming more and more assertive about their rights. That is something that is happening, and every public institution in our country, every government funded institution is falls under the purview of social audit. So in this context, the government, the citizens, they are trying to influence the government's decision making process through the right to information. And however, only the right to information is not sufficient. And it has been realized that social audit is also extremely necessary, since on the basis of social audit, planning, management, and measurement of non financial activities and monitoring of departments' operations can be carried out effectively. So, only through social audit, we can say, planning, management, and measurement also of non financial activities and also monitoring of the department's operations can be carried out effectively. So, the first initiative regarding formal social audit can be observed in section 17 of the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act of 2005, and which states that the Gram Sabha shall conduct social audit of all the projects under this National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme that are undertaken that are taken up within the Gram Panchayat. So now let us discuss the major objectives of social audit. So the first major objective of social audit is to promote transparency and accountability in implementation of government schemes and programs. That is the first objective, and a very primary objective of social audit is to promote transparency and accountability in the implementation of government schemes and programs. Also, the second objective is to strengthen the democracy and institutions at the grassroots level. The third objective is to encourage people's participation in effective implementation of a particular government scheme or program. So, promote transparency and accountability in implementation of government schemes and programs, to strengthen democracy and the institutions of democracy at the grassroots level, to encourage people's participation in effective implementation of a particular scheme or program, and also to engage and to inform and educate and empower local people, especially the beneficiaries of the schemes and programs, about their rights, to make people aware of their rights, to educate them, to inform them, and also to engage them. And through all these things, finally, to empower these beneficiaries so that they are aware of their own rights. Only when they will be aware of their own rights, only then they shall be able to claim those rights. And another major objective of social audit is to provide a platform for local people, especially the beneficiaries of a scheme or program, to express their basic needs and grievances. And another objective of social audit is capacity building of the persons who are participating in this process of social audit. And another very important objective of social audit is to strengthen the implementation of a particular government scheme or program. In this case, when it was launched, it was in perspective of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act that was brought in by the government of India in 2005, and which ensured 100 days of assured employment to every worker at the rural level, right? So, in the rural areas of India, it proved to be a very revolutionary scheme. And in this regard, and a major objective of the social audit that we are discussing today is to strengthen a particular scheme or program by improving its planning. That is based on feedback received through social audit. So, through social audit, feedback is received, and using that feedback, the planning and implementation of a particular government scheme which is running is improved, is basically enhanced. And through this, capacity building also takes place of those people who are participating in the social audit, and it provides a much needed platform to the local people, especially to the beneficiaries of a particular government scheme or program, to express their basic needs and grievances. Also, besides promoting transparency and accountability in implementation of government schemes, it strengthens democracy and the instrumentalities of democracy at the grassroots level. Apart from that, it encourages people's participation in effective implementation of a scheme, and also it empowers people, it empowers the beneficiaries by making them aware of their rights and of the schemes that the government is running for them, by educating them. So, a very these are some of the very important major objectives of social audit. Seven of them that we have discussed. Now, let us discuss the role of social audit. So, social audit, it basically is a way of measuring, reporting, and improving the social and ethical performance of an organization. So, it involves measuring, reporting, and improving the social and ethical performance of an organization. Hence, social audit is considered as a very powerful tool to promote transparency, accountability, as well as people's participation in the government schemes and programs. So, it not only measures, reports, and improves the social and ethical performance of an organization, but also it has proven to be a very powerful tool to promote transparency, accountability, and people's participation in government schemes and programs. So the team for social audit, it examines the physical, financial, and implementation related issues of a particular scheme. And in this process, quantitative and qualitative inputs are publicly verified. And on the basis of all these findings, social audit, it prepares a report, and it suggests suitable directions for developing further strategies for effective implementation of a particular scheme or program. So, if we see, major focus remains on higher degree of transparency, accountability, effective community participation, and also better relationship and mutual trust between the community and local self-government for achieving desired objectives. So, social audit, it contributes in realizing rights of citizens and promotes active citizenship in the rural areas. So, social audit, it educates and encourages the affected people to exercise their rights as beneficiary of a particular government scheme or program. Thus, we can see that social audit, it encourages citizens to claim their constitutional right to participate in governance. So, at the end of the day, it promotes participatory governance, and also it improves government's accountability and performance. So, now let us discuss the significance of social audit. So, the significance of social audit, it lies in examining the effectiveness, usefulness, as well as relevance of a particular implemented scheme or program, so that its benefits must reach to its mandated target group. In addition, this process of social audit, it contributes in strengthening the accountability of a concerned authority, and in addition, its importance is evident in the decision of the Ministry of Rural Development in consultation with the Comptroller and Auditor General of India to notify the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee audit of scheme rules in 2011. So we have been discussing so far how it is very important in examining this. Social audit is a very important tool in examining the effectiveness, usefulness, and relevance of a particular implemented scheme or program in order to ensure that the benefits of that program are reaching the target group. This process of social audit, it contributes in strengthening accountability of a concerned authority, and in addition, the importance of social audit is evident in the decision that was taken by the Ministry of Rural Development in consultation with the Comptroller and Auditor General of India to notify the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee audit of scheme rules in 2011, and its notification to ensure the proper conduct of social audit has inspired the stakeholders to contribute effectively. And in these rules, the responsibilities of the facilitating organization, that is social audit unit, roles and responsibilities of the official social audit prerequisites, the social audit process, the responsibility of the state government to take follow up action, and also the responsibility of the State Employment Guarantee Council or the SEGC to monitor the action taken on the basis of the social audit recommendations of the social audit team, and also to place it before the state legislature are clearly specified. So, in this, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Audit of Scheme Rules that was notified by in 2011 by the Ministry of Rural Development in consultation with the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. In this notification, it was in these rules that were notified in 2011. What they consisted of were the responsibilities of the facilitating organization, as well as that is the social audit unit, as well as it's clearly specified the roles and responsibilities of the officials, as well as the social audit prerequisites. What are the prerequisites of social audit? And also the process of social audit, the process that is to be followed, and also the responsibility of the state government to take follow-up action. So not only conducting social audit, but also follow-up action. What is the action that the state government has taken? Action taken report has to be presented by the state government before the state legislature, and it is a responsibility of the State Employment Guarantee Council to monitor the action taken on the basis of the recommendation of the social audit team. So, in order to make this social audit exercise more effective, in June 2015, the Ministry of Rural Development, in consultation with the Comptroller and Auditor General of India, they constituted a task force. Now, it is to be noted that to strengthen the social audit process in December 2016, the Ministry of Rural Development, it has also forwarded the auditing standards to all the states for necessary action as well as compliance. And the second Administrative Reforms Commission, in its report, also supported this social audit initiative and stated that the social audit through client or beneficiary groups or through civil society groups is yet another way of eliciting information and on and prevention of wrongdoing in procurement of products and services for government. So, of eliciting information as well as preventing wrongdoing in procurement of products and services for government in the distribution of welfare payments, and also in checking of attendance of teachers and students in schools and hostels, as well as staff in the hospitals as well, and a host of other similar citizen service oriented activities of the government. So not only implementation of government schemes, but social audit has proven to be a very effective tool in checking the attendance of teachers and students in government schools and hostels as well, and also of staff in the hospitals, as well as a host of other similar citizen service oriented activities of the government. So that is why it has proven to be extremely important. Further, the second Administrative Reforms Commission, in its report, it said that it will be a useful supplement, social audit, it will be a useful supplement to surprise inspections on the part of the departmental supervisors. And the second Administrative Reforms Commission, it suggested that provisions for the social audit should be made a part of operational guidelines of all schemes. And the second Administrative Reforms Commission, it also recommended that operational guidelines of all developmental schemes and citizen-centric programs should provide for a social audit mechanism. So from that, we can understand how much importance is being given to the concept of social audit. And in the Gram Sabha meeting for social audit, the beneficiaries and the persons who are concerned with the issues that are related to government schemes and programs, they that the audit is conducted in local language so that all members, including women and the marginalized sections of the society, can also participate. So the audit at the Gram Sabha level is being conducted in the local language to ensure that no one is left behind, so that even the women and the marginalized sections of the society, they can also participate in this process of social audit. So ensuring effective participation at the Gram Sabha level of the beneficiaries and the persons who are concerned with the issues relating to the government schemes and program, that is being given utmost importance. Effective participation of beneficiaries, that is the most important thing. That is why social audit is being conducted in the local language. And the second Administrative Reforms Commission has clearly said that operational guidelines of all developmental schemes and citizen-centric programs, they should provide for a social audit mechanism. So now let us discuss towards good governance through RTI initiatives and impact. So social audits in selected schemes. Let us discuss social audits in selected schemes. So, as the social audit, it opens the implementation process to public scrutiny, and also social audit, as we have discussed, it promotes active engagement of the stakeholders for effective utilization of government funds. The government has therefore introduced the provision of social audit in many flagship programs also. However, as we have discussed earlier in this class today also, the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act and the National Food Security Act, they have provisions for conducting social audit, and the government has issued guidelines for undertaking social audits under other schemes as well, such as the Integrated Child Development Scheme and the Swachh Bharat Mission. So, in this regard, legal and schematic provisions, they are also incorporated in the Panchayati Raj Acts of various states. In addition to the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, there are examples of some states that will be worth mentioning today that have initiated the social audits in the following schemes and programs, which we are going to discuss. So, Uttar Pradesh, Meghalaya, West Bengal, and Chhattisgarh, they have initiated social audit in the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. Karnataka has initiated social audit in the Public Distribution System scheme. Uh, Uttarakhand and Karnataka, they have also started social audit in the midday meal scheme, and Telangana and Karnataka, they have initiated social audit in the Swachh Bharat Mission scheme. Telangana has also initiated social audit in the Integrated Child Development Scheme. Telangana government has also initiated social audit in the Stree Nidhi loans that are being provided to self-help groups by the state government. The Jharkhand state has also initiated social audit into the tribal development society programs, and also Karnataka has initiated social audit in the rural drinking water scheme. So now let us discuss the process and the significant steps that are involved in social audit. So far it is clear that social audit, it is a community driven process, and it is a community driven process, and this community driven process is facilitated by community participation, such as the Gram Sabha members in a village. So this process, this community driven process, is undertaken in a very systematic manner to achieve desired objectives, and this process is planned in a series of steps. As each step is significant, therefore sufficient time is provided to complete each and every step. And for better understanding, we can divide this process into the following phases. So the phase one is the pre-social audit phase. So this phase, it includes all the preparatory activities that are needed, that need to be undertaken before conducting the social audit. that involves selection of the suitable village social animator or VSA, sensitization of the community, the non-governmental NGOs and concerned government agencies, and also skill development for conducting village social animator training and preparing reports, and also preparation of a calendar of social audit schedule for each panchayat and block. Phase 2 is during social audit. So the actual social audit activities are conducted in this phase, like validation of the village social animator committee members. The village social animator committee, it conducts physical and oral verification of documents, and also it presents its findings to the Gram Sabha. So this village social animator committee facilitates the process in a socially ethical and accountable manner. The third phase is post social audit phase. The findings of the social audit, they are consolidated here for sharing in this phase. Very important. And efforts are also made to resolve all the grievances in the Gram Sabha itself. So in case of any unresolved issue, it can be taken up in a public hearing, and that is a Jan Sunwai or any other suitable forum. So in the process for undertaking social audit, the following steps are necessary. What are those steps? The first step is identification of specific program or scheme and the deliverables to be covered in a social audit. So all the pertinent information needs to be collected in advance to ensure the success of an audit. For example, in the case of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, efforts are made to find out whether all workers received timely and full payment or not, and whether proper identification of beneficiaries for individual asset creation took place or not, whether actual measurement and physical details of the work as well as work sites was done or not, and whether the details of expenditure incurred with bills and vouchers are there or not. All these things are minutely ensured. And also the verification of attendance registers is also done. If there are any misdoings, wrongdoings that are found in these processes, in this verification, then also action can be taken. So it has proven to be a very effective mechanism for curbing corruption. And also it involves social audit, it involves providing timely information to the district, block and other officials regarding convening the Gram Sabha meeting for conducting social audit. And social audit, it also involves proper record management and data collection, formation of the social audit committee SAC for effective conduct of social audit, also capacity building of the social audit committee members and animators, and also selection of willing and dedicated members, chairperson and secretary for the social audit committee in the first meeting of Gram Sabha. And for systematic verification, the data collected from Management Information System or MIS records is verified against facts from the field and validated to iron out any misinformation. And in preparing a verification report, the Social Audit Committee will prepare a document on the basis of the observations and analysis of its verification process. And this will cover all the important aspects of program delivery, including the services that were provided. So for sharing the verification report and decisions, after setting the ground rule and verifying the required quorum, the Gram Sabha, it asks the Social Audit Committee to present the verification report. And after the documentation of the Gram Sabha decision, the village social animator prepares the social audit report in view of a particular program, and the format for writing the social audit report, it includes what are the things that are included in the format for writing the social audit report. They are the issues to be audited, the details of the information that is required, the sources of information, the method of information verification, uh, the legal implications, the good practices that are being followed, and also the findings of the social audit, as well as the details of those persons who are guilty of wrongdoings, of corrupt practices, as well as the issues for further investigation and the major decisions of the social audit committee. And if the Gram Sabha takes decision by itself, then such decisions can be quickly implemented. And in case of certain issues which cannot be resolved at the Gram Sabha level, then they must be taken up with the concerned departments and action should be immediately initiated. And this social audit process, it will establish the trust of the community in the social audit and the decisions of the Gram Sabha as well. And a summary of the findings of the social audit conducted during a financial year, they must be submitted by the state government to the comptroller and auditor general of India, that is the CAG of India. Now let us discuss the impact of social audit. So it is evident from the study that the effective social audit, it ensures transparency and accountability in implementation of schemes and programs. And in addition, social audit, it also enhances community participation that results in effective implementation as well as ownership of a particular scheme or program. And consequently, the implementing agency, it becomes more accountable and community becomes more responsible for achieving the goals of a particular scheme or program. In the social audit meeting, vulnerable people, they get a chance to express their concerns and share their opinion on scheme or program implementation. And as a result, joint efforts of the social audit committee members, officials and civil society groups, as well as active people's participation, they speed up the scheme or program implementation to achieve desired goals. And above all, the community, it acquires the right to control their resources. In addition, the participatory democracy and governance are also promoted. However, the beneficiaries of a particular scheme or program, as well as lack of efforts and apathetic attitude of officials as well, and poor record management and inadequate staff also for social audit. These are some of the limitations. And hence, in this unit, we have focused on the major issues and challenges that have created hindrances in the process of social audit as well. That is, apathetic attitude of officials, inadequate staff for social audit, poor record management, and also we have discussed how this scheme is being successfully implemented and how it ensures successful implementation of government schemes and programs. So we have discussed social audit and right to information. It was the 14th unit of our paper. So moving on, we will be now be discussing the last unit of this paper, that is right to information, bridging the gap between rights and their enforceability. So the RTI Act of 2005, it has set out the RTI Act of 2005, it has set out a practical regime of right to information for each and every citizen. So a practical regime of right to information for each and every citizen has been set out by the RTI Act of 2005. A practical regime of right to information for each and every citizen to access information from the public authorities. And the Right to Information Act of 2005 is a complete code, as not only it confers right to information, but it also lays down the procedure for accessing information as well. And the Right to Information Act of 2005, it provides for the duties of public authorities as well as delivery of information within a given time frame. And the Right to Information Act of 2005, it also makes provisions for effective grievance redressal forums as well. by incorporating offices of the Central Information Commission, the state information commissions, as well as provisions for appeals and penalties. And if information is not provided within stipulated time, there are provisions for appeals and penalties also. And this RTI Act of 2005, it aims for creating an informed citizenry, and transparency of information is something which it focuses on, which are extremely vital in containing corruption and also for holding government and its instrumentalities accountable to the governed. Hence, it can be considered as a major step in empowering the citizens and also in promoting transparency and in preserving the paramountcy of the democratic ideal. So, RTI, a legislation like RTI, which guarantees openness and accountability, it is bound to have an impact on the working of all the government agencies. So, the disclosure of information by public authorities, it is bound to be in conflict with the interest of those who against whom this information is being sought, and those who are not in favor of the right to information, they feel that it would adversely affect normal functioning of the government's operations. And optimum use of restricted financial resources and protection of confidential sensitive information is also being done. So the RTI Act is a powerful instrument for making people aware of government transactions, records, public policies as well as programs. And this RTI Act of 2005, it makes it incumbent upon the government to be open and transparent in its working so that good governance can be ensured. And in present times, the government, it needs to be responsible, people oriented and dedicated for the empowerment of deprived sections of the society. So if people, they have satisfaction and faith in governance, it motivates them to participate in governance and also to play a significant role in nation building. So with active participation of people, growth is possible in all spheres, whether it is social sphere, economic, intellectual, moral, or administrative. So, with active participation, growth is possible in all the spheres, and the active use of the RTI Act not only redresses the grievances of the masses, but also it fixes the responsibilities. It also fixes the responsibilities upon the wayward public authorities, and it creates an atmosphere of accountability and transparency, and also it promotes a culture of duty. Promotes a culture of duty. So, stressing on the importance of right to information in the preface of the first report of the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, the chairman of the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, Veerappa Moily, he wrote that the RTI Act is a path-breaking legislation which signals the march from darkness of secrecy to dawn of transparency. And this RTI Act, it lights up the mindset of public authorities and which is clouded by suspicion and secrecy. So from darkness of secrecy to dawn of transparency. And openness in the exercise of public power, that is executive, legislative, or judiciary. It is a culture which needs to be nurtured, with privacy and confidentiality being an exception. So, the Right to Information Act will also be a powerful means for fighting corruption as well. And the effective implementation of the Right to Information Act, it will create an environment of vigilance which will help promote the functioning of a more participatory democracy. So the RTI Act of 2005, it attempts to harmonize the conflicting interest between the citizens' right of transparency of information in administrative functioning as well as effective government's confidentiality in sensitive matters. So not only it will harmonize the conflicting interest between the citizens' right of transparency of information in administrative functioning as well as efficient government's confidentiality in sensitive matters. And the preamble to this Act of 2005 it itself states that this act it sets out to provide a practical regime of right to information in order to promote transparency and accountability. So it wants to provide a practical regime of right to information and not a utopian one. So the RTI Act of 2005 it enables the citizens to get information that is held by the public authorities. And this RTI Act of 2005 it is an effective means to reduce corruption as well as to bring good governance. And every government department is bound to provide information under this RTI Act of 2005. And it is indisputable that in a democratic polity, to ensure and to facilitate the continued participation of the people in effective functioning of the democratic process, the people they must be kept informed of the vital decisions that are been taken by the government, and also on the basis and on what basis are those decisions being taken. And therefore right to seek and receive public information becomes a pillar of the democratic setup. Now let us discuss the stakeholders in right to information. The first stakeholder is the government. The basic institutional structure and the processes they have been set up by the central government as per the requirement of the Right to Information Act, and the Department of Personnel and Training has been made the nodal department for the RTI implementation at the central level. And various state governments also have already enacted laws for access to information in some form or other. So some of the state governments in our country they have taken innovative measures in line with the spirit of the act. In the last class, we had discussed a few. The key initiatives that have been taken by the state governments, they are the creation of RTI cells in almost all governmental organizations, which was mandated by the RTI Act of 2005 for receiving the applications of right to information and also for providing information to the information seekers. And also Jankari call center of the government of Bihar is very noteworthy in this context, and it is doing a very laudable job since its inception. Now let us discuss another stakeholder in this RTI Act of 2005, that is the public authority. So public authority it is in any authority or body or institution of self-government that is established or constituted under the Constitution of India, or by any other law that is made by the parliament or a state legislature, or by notification that is issued or order that is made by the central government or a state government. So the bodies that are owned and controlled or substantially financed by the central government or a state government, they are also public authorities. And the NGOs that are substantially financed by the by the central government or by the state government, they also fall within the definition of the public authority. So another stakeholder is the Information Commission. So the Central Information Commission as well as the State Information Commission in the states, they have an important role in upholding the ideals of the RTI Act. And every Information Commission is to function as an adjudicator as well as a regulator. And the objective of the empowerment of common man through RTI can be facilitated if the process of this adjudication is made more simple as well as convenient for the information seekers. And the rule of law, it has to be established by the information commissioners. And the information commissions, they have to be strong and independent to reach out to the common people. And both central and state information commissions, they are the regulator of this process of the implementation of RTI Act. Also another stakeholder is the First Appellate Authority. So the First Appellate Authority, it has a very important role under the RTI Act of 2005. And the independent and judicious examination of appeals by the First Appellate Authority, that would lead to higher satisfaction to the appellants, and this would in turn result in less number of second appeals to the Information Commission. Hence, the first appellate authority, they are also very important stakeholder along with the information commissions. That is the Central Information Commission and the State Information Commissions. So the information that is sought by an applicant, that should either be supplied to the applicant by the public information officer, or application should be rejected within the time that is prescribed under the act. And if additional fee needs to be charged from an applicant, then timely communication in this regard should also be sent to the applicant. And another important stakeholder of this RTI Act of 2005 is the political executive. So, political leaders, they own a higher level of responsibility, and the citizens, they expect greater transparency from their representatives in their official work. And as the decision making processes are open to public scrutiny, so therefore, the elected leaders, they show greater cooperation. So, in a democracy, the Right to Information Act is both a challenge as well as an opportunity for the political leaders, and so they take responsibility for their decisions and use the public forum for their interest. So, let us discuss some of the initiatives of the government for effective implementation of the Right to Information Act. So, the Right to Information Act of 2005, it mandated timely response to citizens' request for government information. And the RTI portal of the Government of India is an initiative that is taken by the Department of Personnel and Training. And so the Department of Personnel and Training of as well as the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, they took this initiative of creating the RTI portal gateway to the citizens for quick search of information on the details of the first appellate authorities, the public information officers, amongst others. And besides access to right to information related information as well, and disclosures also published on the website by various public authorities under the Government of India as well as state governments as well, is available on this RTI portal gateway. And so, if we talk about bridging the gap between right to information and its enforceability, based on the case studies that were conducted by the Second Administrative Reforms Commission, 2006, responses of various ministries to a questionnaire and interactions with the stakeholders following difficulties and impediments were noted in the implementation of this Right to Information Act. So, certain difficulties were also noted. What were they? Complicated system of accepting request is one difficulty, and also the insistence of demand drafts. And there was a difficulty that was found regarding filing applications by post, and also the large number of public information officers and varying and often higher rates of application fee. So, as per the RTI Amendment Act of 2019, now the tenure of the Central Information Commissions and commissioners and the information commissioners is no longer fixed, and their term of appointment, salary, and tenures of the CICs and ICs, they can be decided on a case-to-case basis by the central government. And adequate and efficient machinery for management of record and monitoring cells of RTI is also very important, because it has been observed that many a times authority, they wish to provide information but they cannot do so due to non-availability of materials. And so effective mechanism is required for evaluation of information machinery and for maintenance of records also, as per section 4 of the act. So RTI cells, they have to be improved because their staff is also less and there is no system to monitor the staff. So the General Administration Department has been constituted within RTI cells to improve their functioning and to strengthen the State Information Commissioners, and also providing independence to the appellate authority and induce a RTI culture. These are some of the things that have to be done because Section 19(6) of RTI Act stipulates that first appeal must be disposed of within a period of 30 days. So, in today's class, we have discussed social audit and how right to information it has the and we have also discussed bridging the gap between right to information and its enforceability. And so, with this, we have completed this paper regarding Right to Information Act of 2005 and how it operated in India. And we have finally in today's class discussed social audit and bridging the gap between right to information and its enforceability. So in today's class, we discussed some of the difficulties, where some of the hindrances that are being faced by the for the implementation of this act and how that needs to be improved. So we have finished with this paper regarding right to information by finally discussing bridging the gap between right to information and its enforceability in India. And we have discussed in today's class some of the case studies that were being conducted by the second Administrative Reforms Commission, on the basis of which we got to know what are the difficulties and what are the drawbacks in this Right to Information Act, and how those drawbacks they should be improved. So thank you so much. Namaste.